What they do is they clip little pieces and twist it into a pretzel and effectively lie.
A new partnership between Oklahoma schools and conservative nonprofit PragerU sparking a fierce debate. We're breaking down all sides of the argument tonight. First, let's start with what exactly is PragerU?
Yeah, Wendy, PragerU is a media group. They put out digital content described as pro-American and an alternative to, quote, dominant left-wing ideology. Now, we talk about that content, including educational videos meant for kids, and while some are welcoming this coming to Oklahoma schools, others aren't so happy. Materials from the group called PragerU, are they helpful resources, or do they discriminate against certain minorities, as one advocate told us? Now, Fox 25's Tom Ferguson has been digging into all of this and has a complete breakdown for you.
We want them to know about American exceptionalism, want them to know about those founding documents, want them to understand what made this country great.
That was State Superintendent Ryan Walters on PragerU coming to public schools in the Sooner State. The group advocates for conservative principles and says it makes age-appropriate content for kids on topics ranging from history to civics to personal finance.
Our goal is not to turn children into political hammers. It is the opposite of what we want to do. We want to engage families. We want to strengthen kids' education. We want kids to understand the country that they live in.
According to the group's CEO, media reports have misrepresented its content on sensitive issues like slavery.
We teach the horrors of slavery. We teach that discrimination is a terrible thing. We teach that America has really grown and evolved. We want kids to grow up understanding both the good and the bad.
She says the resources are free to use if wanted and encourages parents and teachers to browse their website to see the materials for themselves. But one advocate for Muslims in Oklahoma says their content is biased against members of his faith community and others.
PragerU is definitely skewed towards a certain political and Christian nationalistic white savior message that is not beneficial for minorities of any background here in Oklahoma. As a Muslim and as a father here in Oklahoma, I would want Ryan Walters to know that he is really playing with the lives and the emotions of people in our state.
Adam Sultani also faulted the video's ability to even give a good picture on complex issues, citing one in particular that describes persecution against Egypt's minority Coptic Christian community.
They're 5 or 6 minute videos, and you cannot tell the story of a complex and complicated relationship between two of the major world religions in a country like Egypt or any other country in the Middle East or the world in a 5-minute snippet.
Now, PragerU is responding to Sultani's comments. The CEO said in part, quote, CARE is an organization that stands against American values. It's no surprise they're trying to take PragerU down. She then went on to say in part, quote, unlike CARE, we do not attack people based on their religion, country of origin, race, or gender. We're going to have their full response to CARE's claims on OKCFox.com. We'll also have links to their content posted so you can view it for yourself and make up your own mind.
The Oklahoma Education Association released a statement. It says in part, OEA continues to believe that curriculum offered in Oklahoma classrooms should meet the high standards set by our local education professionals. PragerU is not a legitimate accredited education organization. It is a media organization whose creator has admitted PragerU material indoctrinates kids. You can find OEA's full statement on OKCFox.com. Oklahoma schools also commenting on the state superintendent's endorsement of the controversial curriculum.
Fox 25's Peyton May breaking down which districts, if any, will be involved in the new PragerU partnership.
While there's been a lot of attention across the nation since the state superintendent announced his partnership with PragerU, from the handful of schools I've reached out to, no one will be using the curriculum. This is PragerU, an online platform the website claims offers a free alternative to the dominant left-wing ideology in culture, media, and education to, quote, preserve American ideals. Now, recently, the non-accredited educational site faced criticism for instruction on slavery and views on non-Christian religions shared across videos. While the state superintendent is pushing that the resources are now available, that doesn't mean they're going to be taught in Oklahoma school districts. And so far, many districts say they're not educating kids on the website's content. Let's start with the largest districts, Oklahoma City and Tulsa public schools. OKC says the superintendent endorsement, quote, doesn't change anything we are doing in the classroom, adding that we, quote, trust our teachers to do everything they can to help our students grow. Tulsa goes even further, saying, quote, we have not reviewed PragerU as a curricular resource and have no plans to alter the curricular selection process that we follow in Tulsa. There's other districts that have given an immediate no. Mustang and Edmond say their teaching materials and curriculum were in place before the first day of classes and, quote, no resources from PragerU are included. Some districts like Moore and Yukon outline that they align their curriculum to the standards approved by the state legislature, and they'll be using their current curriculum. Reporting Peyton May, Fox 25 News.
Now, State Representative and former teacher John Waldron says he's worried about the content that could be shared in Oklahoma schools because of that PragerU partnership. He says several people have shared their concerns with him about it.
We don't want our kids to be subject to this level of indoctrination. The content they're providing is beyond the bounds, and we have a great teaching core here in Oklahoma. We have curriculum standards that were approved by the legislature. I don't think we need these outsiders to come in.
Waldron added he's worried about Walters pushing a right-wing agenda. In response to those concerns, Superintendent Ryan Walters had this to say.
Whenever we have a history curriculum that focuses on the founding era and history as it happened, that they try to create these controversies. What we have done with this partnership with PragerU is ensure that our kids will be taught without left-wing indoctrination, but they will see the facts throughout our history. We teach kids how to think, not what to think. We teach them about the events, and they can draw their own conclusions from them.
For all of the superintendents talk about indoctrination, let me tell you, we start using this Prager content in the classroom, you're going to see what indoctrination looks like.
The PragerU videos are already posted on the State Department of Education's website.
Oklahoma's agreement with PragerU has once again thrust our state onto the national stage, making headlines across the country. I sat down with the state superintendent today for an exclusive interview to find out if he's enjoying the spotlight and to grill him on other hot education topics. I would say you're probably the most talked about Oklahoma politician nationally right now. How are you dealing with that attention? Are you enjoying it?
Hey, look, I think that we're leading the country in education reform. I think that we've done an incredible job of getting this woke indoctrination out of our schools, putting parents back in charge of their kids' education. And so as you start to see this happen, I love that Oklahoma is being a leader in all of these ways.
A lot of folks talking about PragerU. Do we have an actual contract with PragerU?
Yeah, so what we have is an agreement to share their products across the state at no cost. This is the beginning, but we're really excited about it.
So there is a contract. Can you tell us the specifics of that? Have we paid any money for that contract?
No, it's completely free to taxpayers here and completely free to the teachers and parents.
We've been polling, some school districts, and quite a number of them, some of the biggest ones have said, we're not going to touch this curriculum. We're not going to touch these videos. We're not going to show them. How do you respond to that?
Oh, I haven't heard that from any districts yet. Our districts have said, what we've said, which is this is a tool that teachers can use. I'm not saying teachers have to use it.
So if a local district, if OKCPS Edmond says we don't want it, you're fine with that?
Yeah, I want high quality curriculum. And there's other providers that offer high quality curriculum also. We're working with some right now.
The other big story kind of making headlines is this principal who is also apparently a drag queen. You have called for this person to lose their job because of them dressing up in their own time. How can you justify that? This is someone on their personal time, not breaking the law.
Sure. I appreciate that question because when you work with young people, there's a certain agreement that you have to have with parents, with the school, so that people know that when their kid goes to school, they're not going to be forced into any kind of indoctrination or radical gender theory. And we've been seeing that in schools.
We didn't see any evidence of that in this case. This was all done off hour. So I'm wondering where the line is. Should an educator be afraid to dress up in a play or be part of a reenactment, a historical reenactment? Where's the line?
Right. So I'm always going to advocate for parents and stand with parents. Parents believe that drag queen, someone who is a drag queen, should not be running a school. And so I think that's clear. I understand where parents are coming from with that. And I continue to be a voice for parents. Nobody knows better for their kids than a parent. And when you have parents speaking loudly and clearly that this is too far, this is very concerning for us with young children, you can't be participating in those activities and working with young people.
So the folks that say, hey, freedom, it's in my own time, there is a limit to that freedom in your mind?
Look, there's consequences of personal behavior. We have the freedom to do a lot of things, but there's consequences that come with those things.
And finally, what can you tell us about any cooperation with any ongoing investigations? FBI, AG, are you cooperating?
I don't know any investigations that you'd be referring to.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no knowledge of that.
While Walters is tight-lipped, here's what we do know about those investigations into Superintendent Walters. This all stems from federal and state audits that found Oklahoma misspent millions in federal funds that were meant to go to education during the pandemic. The AG's office confirmed back in June their office is investigating those GEAR funds. While other news outlets have reported the FBI is also investigating Walters' involvement in the misspent funds, Fox 25 has not been able to independently confirm that. The FBI never confirms or comments on pending investigations.
And that was your big story breakdown. You can find more information about the partnership between PragerU and OSDE on OKCFox.com.
And if you missed any part of this big story breakdown, you can find it all on our YouTube channel. Just scan the QR code on your screen or search OKC Fox.